Agenda today, so I'll go through the agenda. Candidates welcome, shareholders welcome. If you are filling in, please just kindly take your seats quietly. We have begun the program and it is being recorded. So, our agenda for today, we have opening remarks from the committee, and I've allotted 10 minutes, but I honestly don't think we'll need 10 minutes for opening remarks, so we're already starting the program ahead of schedule. Then we'll have candidate introductions. That's set to go until 7:25. Again, if we start early, we'll likely finish early. We'll have the question and answer session, 2 hours from 7:25 to 9:25. Candidate closing statements from 9:25 to 9:45, and then closing remarks from 9:45 to 9:50. The closing remarks and opening remarks will probably shift. We might leave a little bit more time for the closing remarks. Do we have any questions from the candidates about the agenda? Okay. Let me be the first to once again welcome all of the candidates back to forum number 3. We hope you're as excited to be here as we are to be here watching you all. I would like to introduce the election committee. Claudia Sampson to my left, and I, Anika Green Watson, are the co-chairs. We are joined by our general counsel, Jeff Buss, who's at the end of the table. And we also have 5 committee members. Diane Elaine, Levon Barksdale, Jewel Crawford Duncan, who is our timekeeper tonight, Dorothy Davis, and Deborah Jones. I will go over the audience ground rules. These are the same rules that you will have heard at forum number 2 from Dreiser and forum number 1 from Dreiser and forum number 2 from Einstein. First question, it's moot at this point, but the audience had to submit questions in advance of the forum. There are no live questions today. We ask that audience members do not block cameras or recording equipment. We ask that the audience refrain from outbursts or disruptive noises during the forum. Again, this is being recorded for playback, and it's hard to hear. We ask that audience members respect the candidates. Do not speak, cheer, or boo during the debate, please. We ask that there be no interruptions, so do not interrupt the candidates as they're speaking, and please do not interrupt the moderators. Claudia and I will co-moderate. And we ask that audience members do not hold up signs or props, banners, anything of the sort. And my favorite rule, please silence all mobile devices. If you think it's on silent, put it on Do Not Disturb. If you think it's on Do Not Disturb, turn it off. Please do not have your devices ringing during the forum. Now we'll go over the candidate ground rules. All candidates have received the ground rules in advance. They probably can recite them in their sleep at this point. Rule number 1, remain seated and speak directly into the mic from your seat, please. No, I'm not even going to. Next one, respect speaking time. Please adhere to the allotted time for responses. We do not allow time for rebuttals. Our timekeeper here will keep time. Everyone's used to the red, amber, green lights, but I will explain them again in a few seconds. Stay on topic, address the question or topic presented by the moderator. No interruptions, refrain from interrupting other candidates while they are speaking. Base your arguments on verifiable facts and evidence. Maintain a respectful and civil tone towards other candidates, please. Avoid personal insults or attacks on character. Follow the moderator's direction. Please comply with the instructions and rules set by the moderator. Speak only when recognized by the moderator. No props or visual aids. And try to refrain from looking down at mobile devices. It's okay if you have some notes, but as you're speaking and appearing on camera, just make a note to keep your head up. And just because I love overdoing it for the audience, please silence all mobile devices and candidates as well. Please silence your mobile devices. Okay. Timekeeper. Candidates will have up to 60 seconds to give an opening/introductory statement. The light will be green for the first 45 of the 60 seconds. It will turn amber or yellow at the 15-second mark, and red with an audible beep when your time is up. Candidates will have 90 seconds or a minute and a half to respond to the question series, and candidates will also have 90 seconds to give their closing statements. For that timer, the amber light will appear at the 30-second mark, and the red light will appear when your time is up. Candidates will answer questions in a modified version of the order established at the candidate's orientation on Monday, April 22nd. So if you look to your left, look to your right, you should have the same position you've had in all three forums, just shifted by 4 each time. Please silence all mobile devices. Okay, so the order for opening statements will be Keyshawn White, Kevin Fogey, Leah Graham, Andrea Leslie, Jacqueline Smith, Mary Pearson, Andrew Carnegie, Shanazelda Montgomery. Did I say Andrew? It's last forum, Mary got married and had a new last name. And now you've got a new first name. I apologize. Aaron Carnegie, Shanna Montgomery, Bernie Silage, Ezekiel Springer, Corazon Fernandez. Please silence all mobile devices. No, I literally have this at the bottom of every page. All right, and without further ado, candidates, are we ready for opening statements?
Yes.
All right, we are going to start with Keyshawn White. Please proceed.
Dr. Keyshawn White, I represent the community first team, consisting of Leah Graham, Sean Montgomery, Jacqueline Smith. We are here to represent the best interests of co-op city cooperators. I come with over 15 years investment banking experience. I led a modest congregation in Manhattan for over 16 years. Also, I come with building experience. We recently, at my church, we completed a construction project, $32 million building housing as well as a new church facility. So I'm quite familiar with budgets, construction, all that goes into the process that would be needed to help run such a large cooperative as our church also occupies space mixed use with a condo. First and foremost, we want to make sure we assure the security of your vote. We are here to ensure that your vote is protected, that it will never be dismissed again.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Kevin Fogey.
Hi, Kevin Fogey of the Impact Team. Over the last two forums, there's been a lot of information, so I wanted to actually just start off my opening statement by just reinforcing some of the bullet points in case you haven't heard or have been misled by the information. There is a budget committee that does exist, and it's part of the whole. And with Mr. Marvin Walter, who gives the monthly briefings, the budget is gone over in a very actual way, and he prioritizes the needs of the community. Secondly, there has been a performance evaluation that has been handed in for our newly hired executive manager, Mr. Walton, representing the Douglas Elmer Property Management. There's been some concerns with the shareholders as it refers to lobby attendance. All I'm going to say is cost effectiveness. They're not trained safety officers.
Thank you. Leah Graham.
Hello? Hello, everyone. Glad to see you. My name is Leah Graham, and I am with the Community First Team. Because I love my community, I am proud to be running in this year's election with my teammates Shanna Montgomery, Dr. Keyshawn White, and Jacqueline Smith. We are the team with the right business experience in budgeting, finance, management, and strategic planning. Our goal is to help control spending and minimize these ongoing carrying charge increases. And because we are shareholders, we will never compare our carrying charges to rents. I have lived in Co-op City for over 24 years. And I have the experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea Leslie. Hello.
Hi, I'm Andrea Leslie, and I'm running with the Impact Team. Kevin Foggy, myself, Andrea Leslie, Bernie Savage, Mary Pearson, Sheila Richburg, and Ezekiel Springer Jr. I am running because I would like to continue the trajectory that we're already on, improving our infrastructure, our aging infrastructure, improving our community services, and making our community financially sound. I have over 30 years of community service and employment with the City of New York, affecting the lives of persons in crisis and also shareholders here. I ask that you vote for us, the Impact Team, to continue the trajectory that we're on, improving our community in terms of our infrastructure, our community services, and making our community financially sound. Vote for me, Andrea Lacey, Bernie Silage, Kevin Foggy, Mary Pearson, and
Thank you, Andrea. Jacqueline Smith.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Smith, and I'm with the Community First Team. I'm running with 3 exceptional candidates, 4 shareholders that believe that they have not only the passion, but the skill set to come to the Riverbay board with your best interest at heart and just do the best job we can. Something has to be said when you have a project that's budgeted at, I don't know, I'm not on the board, 30 million, and it goes to 67 million. Mr. Watson's only been here a year. Some of this stuff should have been looked at before. We're not promising anything, but we're promising that we will respect your vote. Your vote is very important. We just want to be a change agent. You don't know whether or not you have integrity until it's the middle of the night and you have to take a vote. And you know that if you vote no, it might cost you dearly. The 4 of us, I truly believe, have the integrity that's needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Pearson.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Mary Pearson, musician, writer, activist, 30-year resident of Section 5, and current board director. I'd like to continue to serve on the board because I'd like to continue to make all our lives better. And I'd like to do it with my Impact Team, and that is Kevin Foggy, Andrea Leslie, Sheila Richburg, Bernie Silage, and Ezekiel Springer. What we want is to keep Co-op City clean, green, lean, affordable, and safe. What we also want is important, powerful allies to get us things that we need, can't do for ourselves. The Metro North access, lowered insurance premiums, and so much more, and your vote.
Thank you. Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Aaron Carnegie. I was born and raised in Section 5 in Co-op City. We have a simple choice in this election. We have board members who are running for re-election. They have a record that we can look up in the Co-op City Times. Right or wrong, we've had 15% over the past 2 years of carrying charge increase. That needs to stop. Now, the fact of the matter is we can argue all day long on why we have it, insurance rates, whatever. Here's the fact of the matter. It happened on their watch. I had a elementary school teacher. She used to live here in Co-op. She had a phrase, you don't reward people for bad behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, if you vote for this board, you will be rewarding them for bad behavior. They will continue to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shannon.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the shareholders who have already voted. We will make sure that your vote counts this year, definitely. You want board of directors that understand duties of loyalty to the community, duties of care to the shareholders, and duties of obedience for the process and bylaws in which govern our community. And I believe the Community First team of Shan Zelda Montgomery, Leah Graham, Keyshawn White, and Jacqueline Smith can give you guys that. We are here to just let you guys know that it's about shareholders. We're all shareholders up here, and My team will not do anything that will cause our community harm or cause us any more trauma than we are already facing now. We have to take a stance. We have to make this year's vote count. We have to make sure that what's happening to us will not continue to happen to us, because it will. If we're looking at 8.1% now, what are we looking at next year? So we have to stop that now. Thank you. Please vote.
Thank you. Bernie?
We have to look at the record. First of all, there's 6,000 folks, families, who are on a waiting list. Only 32 families move out a month. That's 2.4%. Median rent outside Co-op City for one-bedroom apartment is $1,900. Here, the average rent county charge for a one-bedroom apartment is $895. And our crime rate has gone down by 18%, even though we've cut the lobby attendant, the garage attendant, and we're left with only 50 of the 93 officers. Yet the increases have gone up by 17%, while consumer price index has gone up in the same period by 28%. Let's keep up.
Thank you. Ezekiel?
Hi, I'm Building 32 President Ezekiel Springer Jr., and I'm asking for your vote. Please elect me to the board. Why? I know your main concern is likely the 8.1% carrying charge increase, because it's one of mine. As part of the impact team, I pledge to find ways to mitigate these increases while seeking new ways to increase revenue and cut waste. Impact team members Bernard Silage, Mary Pearson, and Andrea Leslie have already started the process of maintaining our quality of life here in Co-op City. Now allow fellow impact team members Sheila Richburg, Kevin Fogarty, and myself to join them so we can implement our ideas and know-how for a thriving Co-op City. Thank you.
Thank you. Corazon?
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good time. Why am I running? I've been asked that. Why am I running? I'm tired of the roaches infesting our homes, the mices. You have an exterminator knocking at the door. They're cleaning up. The very next day there's a mice. Tired of that. Tired of no lobby attendance, tired of a garage. There's no garage attendance. You know, our seniors, our older people here need safety. Safety is key. I'm tired of the mold around the connectors. The connectors, that's a nuisance, you know? I'm just here to support you guys, because you guys are the voice of this community. You guys are why I am here, the shareholders. I am a shareholder myself. And I just thank you for your time.
Thank you. And with that, we will move to our first question of the night. And we're going to start back at this end with Keyshawn White. Question number 1. What is your plan for enforcing the rule that dog owners must pick up behind their dogs and keep their dogs on a leash?
Good evening, everyone. Our plan is very simple. We have been placed into a corner because of the Americans with Disabilities Act that we have to have pets on Co-op City. But what we should do is implement a plan to make it a dog-inclusive community. That way, we can impose rules and restrictions, fines, and even fees for people who have pets and animals. That we can be able to control their movements, we can be able to have public safety, be able to find them if the animals are acting in a way or doing things like littering or defecating in particular areas and they're not picking up on them. That way, it will give us greater control over those who have dogs within our community by making it a rule, accepting them, but then being able to have oversight over everyone who has an animal and has a pet within Co-op City.
Thank you. Next, Kevin.
One of the things I think that would help alleviate the problem is if we would have more patrol by CCPD. If we're limiting the actual places where the animals can go, if we have enforcement there, they would be the ones then that would actually enforce the fines and things of that nature. In order to help everyone so that there's a balance, I strongly suggest that we create some type of a doggy park where everything now is localized in one central area. That's easier to control than trying to send the CCPD 5 sections, all buildings at all times. So if we can sort of localize it, get it so it's constrained in a specific area, then we can monitor more actively the leash, the defecation and without picking up and things of that nature. So it's something we'll have to work together with. We'll have to come up with a solution, but we want to minimize just allowing them to do whatever they want whenever they want. Increase the patrol, force the leash, do the reporting, let CCPD do their job. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one, Rita.
I was on the board for 6 years, from 2010 to 2016. And during that time, I was in charge of the dog committee. And it was a very effective committee. It included shareholders who owned dogs and shareholders who did not. And one of the things that we came up with working with Riverbay is we were assigned a park right near the Little League, somewhere on Co-op City Boulevard. But because all of the information that we put together, we even prepared a newsletter called Rough Rough, so that we could engage those individuals who had dogs. Unfortunately, it didn't pass the board. So here we are again. And as my colleague, Dr. Keyshawn White, is saying, is that if we transition from being a no-dog community to allowing dogs, because they're here and it's growing, we can control the size, how many, the leasing laws, and many of the other programs. And that's because the Community First team, we are strategic planners. We do this every day in our business. We know how to hit the ground running and to help this community. And one of the things that we would do is we would work with the legal department to help review some of these policies and increase them. That is one of our platforms, is to enhance the dog policy.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Hello. One of the things that I think that we need to be doing is we have to realize that we're living together, and I think that shareholders who have dogs feel some hostility from shareholders who don't have dogs. And if you see something and say something when you hear a dog, you see a dog, reporting is a major part of it. Public safety cannot do anything if they're not getting reports. I know people complain, but I think we need to partner with getting detailed information when public safety has to report in order to do so. There are many rules and regulations by law that prevents us from doing certain things. If someone is disabled, we can force them to clean up. There are a number of things that we have to educate ourselves more on what those requirements and regulations are before we're arguing as to what we can and cannot do before we start doing so. We are working on getting the dog park, and I don't think that that's going to be the solution because everybody is probably not going to take their dogs there. And we also need to have public safety be more active. When we have more patrol people, we will have more action to resolve that issue.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jacqueline Smith.
Jacqueline Smith, Community First Team. When we first got together, we discussed this. We practiced what we're preaching. We did the research. We heard from the shareholders as we walked around, and we were letting them know we run. So we did the research. Mitchell Lamas already have policies in place. We're the only Mitchell Lama who does it. NYCHA has a policy, luxury buildings. So we put together a 6-point strategy. We've already written it, discussed it, and ready to work on it with the current board members and present it to the legal department. We're just a little bit behind times, which is okay. Change is not easy. People grew up here. We didn't have dogs. But unfortunately, as we all know, we lost that lawsuit and we have dogs. But there's already a plan that we have come together, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a dog park, because the dog park should be a referendum on your general ballot, because that's a major investment and you would need several, according to the research that we have done, because we are Mitchell Lama, and the same rules that apply when you are disabled apply to dog parks. See, that's the whole thing when you want to build something and use shareholders' money. You got to do the research. You want to make sure that when we start building and we start investing money, that we don't come back with change orders and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Okay, even if someone has an official Riverbay acceptable dog, authorized dog, they still have to follow the rules. And the rules are, can't be off leash, can't excessively bark, and can't be aggressive. Those are the 3 things. Poop scoop, yeah, that's nice. We should all make sure that everyone poop scoops. But if you see a dog off leash, if you see a dog being aggressive or, just yapping its head off or hearing, you can't approach the person. First of all, it would be infringing on the person with the disability that is officially allowed to have a dog. But it could be dangerous. People in Section 5 on beautiful waterside park was called a dog park by this man that told this woman, well, you can come in, but they're playing, and it is, after all, a dog park. And that happened twice to the same woman, even though she found out, of course, it was not a dog park. I do believe in having dog runs, but not just one. It should be in each of the 3 sections, being Dreiser, Bartow, and Einstein. I think it's good for the dogs, it's good for the owners. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan?
Hi, everyone. To answer this question, I'm glad my fellow candidates have joined me in my idea of actually flipping the policy for dogs in this community. We actually, in order to have correct enforcement, you have to actually flip the script. You cannot sit here because CCPD is not going to approach someone right now who has a dog because they don't want to seem like they're infringing on their disability. But now if you allow everyone to have a dog, what will happen is they have to have a tag. And you make the policy that they have to show that tag. And when CCPD can go up to them, they have to have that tag or else they get a community complaint. Now, in terms of the other issues, you can't do a dog park. You can't, like as Mary said, you can't do one. If you have one, where are you gonna put it? You can't put it just in Section 5 because the people over here, what are you gonna walk over to Section 5 for your dog? That doesn't make any sense. And the people in Section 5, are you gonna walk over here to use dog run? No, that's not feasible. The other thing is, who's gonna clean it? You having dog run, yeah, that's nice, but dogs are gonna use the bathroom in the dog run. What if you put your child in there to let the dog loose and guess what, they fall down? There's diseases in there. Do you remember when we had the sand lot? Do you remember the diseases we had in there? We don't want that again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shanna?
There are so many different variables when it comes to speaking about someone's emotional pet, whether it's legally emotional pet or they've designated the pet emotional. But I think they always say if you can't beat them, you join them. We need to embrace some things that are just inevitable. I say we have incentives for them. If we have plastic bags going around the track that I call it a track, maybe we should have some plastic bags inside the buildings designated so when you leave your building with your dog, you can grab a bag and do just that in case the bags are used from outside and they run out. We can also do a dog convention where we go into Dreiser Loop and Einstein Loop, and maybe once a month, once every other month, where we invite dog owners, we invite to register your dog, people who are there to give dog tags, to give registration, to buy dog items, to buy just different things for the dog, to let the community know. Those of you who do have pets, however that you feel about your pet, a lot of people feel that their pets are their children, but I also convey the message of non-dog owners, because we also deserve the same amount of respect that dog owners are asking us to give. So I think if we just incentivize certain things, like I just think a convention where you're inviting all of the pet owners, different pet products, where they can just come together and purchase things, dog tags, leashes.
Thank you. Bernie?
You know, we're, some of us are taking up this issue and taking this. Let's understand this. There's over 300 owners of dogs, I believe at least, if not more. Now, the owners are cooperatives. They're co-owners. And we're not trying to win them over. And you can't approach them and win them over antagonistic. I think has a good idea. I think we should explore that. We have to win those folks over to get them to understand that they are co-owners and they need, like us, to protect their property. And I think that's the way to win them over. You're not going to win them over with a cop after every dog. We don't have enough police officers as it is. So I believe this is the way approach. We have to win them over, and let's understand that they are also cooperatives, and they can be won over by indicating, stressing that they are co-owners, and they have to engage in protecting their property, not just ours. And I believe that's the way to win them over and solve this problem.
Thank you. At this time, the committee would like to remind the audience to please silence all mobile devices. Okay. Next, we will hear from Ezekiel.
I agree with most of what's been said here, that basically dogs are here to stay. If you can't beat them, join them. Basically, shareholders on both sides need to be vigilant. Shareholders without dogs, be vigilant. Make sure that your neighbor is doing right with their dog. There's laws already in place. I don't know if we need to add more laws. We just need to enforce them. And as far as enforcement goes, it goes kind of back to the CCPD invisibility issue. So CCPD needs to be more visible in areas where we know people take their dogs. And again, if you see something, say something, but not to the dog owning shareholder. Say it to CCPD. I understand that there's possibly money, like $53,000, for a dog park or parks. I agree that there needs to be more than one. Having one is just ridiculous. So there's money there, and I think if we have a dog park or several of them, that at least the dog owners will know that we care and that we want to work with you. So basically, let's work together on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Corazon.
I agree. Everybody already said that. Dog parks are a necessity, and having specified areas within the sections, not just section 5, but within the sections, to help damage control. Because I have children and I have my kids walking on the grass and I don't want them to step on poop. Most of the times, I've caught it twice already, they're stepping on poop. It's kind of annoying, but anyways, building presidents should be proactive on having shareholders understand that rules are to be implemented. Shareholders should be fined. The same way we're in a garage and we're parking funny, we get fined for randomness in the garage, is the same way someone who has a service dog and the service dog is not cooperating should be fined. Dogs, yes, they should be registered. I believe we there was a point in time, I think, if you were having a service dog, you had to register it with, Cobb City. That has to be implemented. ASPCA, when you see the ASPCA buses, maybe, hopefully, if the budget allows, this is all within budget, a rep should be there to help license these dogs. And that's all. Thank you.
Now we're on to question number 2. We'll start again in the same order in which we first started our question. Keyshawn, White, name 1 or 2 ways that you think shareholders and residents can be more seriously committed to voting in our elections.
Thank you. Good evening again, everyone. Sean White, Community First Team. One of the ways that shareholders can be more engaged in community elections is to have their voice heard. Over and over again, one of the main reasons why I'm running today is the huge backlash from shareholders in my building 24, as well as other buildings that I've been around, that have discussed their frustration with the fact that they do not feel that their voice is heard. One of the things that we as a Community First Team, Leah Graham with Jacqueline Smith, along with Shauna Montgomery, want to implement is that at every board of directors meeting, we set aside a particular time just to hear from the shareholders and not to discuss business. We want to be responsive to you, our fellow shareholders. We want to make sure that your voice is heard, that you are represented, that we are not just thinking in a bubble amongst ourselves without considering your feelings towards how you would like Co-op City to be governed. We are running today because we want to represent you. We represent you. We are one of you, and we want to make sure that your voice is represented in every meeting, over every discussion. We want to apply our expertise to every problem, but we want your voice to resonate in our minds so that your decisions are made because it affects you.
Thank you very much. Next, Kevin Pokey.
Yes, I think one of the ways that we can encourage the shareholders to be involved with the voting is communication. If I'm elected to the board, what I would like to do, I would set up a business email account whereby first, once you go through the protocols of like your building association, you're reading the Cobb City Times, taking advantage of the suggestion boxes that are around the community, online suggestions and things of that nature. I would like to set up an email with my personal name, however I would do it, and this way you can contact me at any time, and I would respond in a timely fashion, and I would get the information back to you. This way, at least you know your voice is being heard, someone is listening and responding. Now, will you get an answer to every problem that you have? Maybe not, but at least you're being heard, and you'll get back some type of feedback to show you that we are concerned. We'll give you names, we'll give you departments, we'll give you phone numbers, whatever's necessary so that you understand it's not just going on deaf ears. So please, you want to be involved, we'll make the resources available to you. Access them, use us. We work for you.
Thank you, Kev. Next, Leah Graham.
Hello, great, thank you. Like my colleague, Dr. Keyshawn shared, our goal is to make your voice heard. We represent you, and by electing us, we already have a platform. We are already ready to hit the ground running for you. Remember, I served on the board for two sessions. I ran 3 years. You liked what I was doing. You elected me again, right? We want to continue that effort. As it relates to our elections, we would want to make it a big deal. Voting should be a big deal. It is so quiet, sometimes people doesn't even know it's an election. And how do we do that? We would need to revamp that 13-page election rules that has strangled us as candidates in engaging you around the communities. I remember the time when we used to can engage and have parades, and it was a big deal and it was fun. And now these rules have really restricted how we can get involved with you. So by electing community first, we already have a plan. We are strategic planners. This is what we do every day for a living. We want to bring this community back to life with you. The last thing is enhancing new cooperative orientations. That would include that information as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Andrea Leslie, next.
Hello, I'm Andrea Leslie, and I ask for your vote, along with Kevin Fogey, Bernie Silage, Mary Pearson, Sheila Richburg, and Ezekiel Springer Jr. I would like to introduce and make important from the very beginning at the sale process. I've been through the sale process, and the importance of voting is not stressed there. I think it's very important to stress it from that point on, orientation, to make sure that everyone understands their responsibility as a shareholder to vote. That is not being done. And we've spoken about it before. I've snuck into orientations. I had to sneak into orientations to introduce myself as a board member to new coming shareholders so they understand what the board's responsibility is and that they need to vote. That's some of the things that I think needs to be done. I think we already are doing things. Our web, we now have a chat that shareholders can share. We have to encourage more. Everybody is not wanting to read the paper, but the newspaper is online, and communicate in that way the importance of voting. I ask that you vote for the impact team, myself, Andrea Leslie, Kevin Fogey, Bernie Silage, Mary Pearson.
Thank you, Andrea.
Springer Jr.
Thank you very much. Jacqueline Smith, you're next.
Thank you so much. Part of our research, believe it or not, was speaking to my mother. She's 81 years old now. She retired to Alabama. She was an original shareholder. I said, Mommy, what made all of you turn out in such big numbers in Section 5 every time anything went on? She said, well, first of all, we used to have management would just come to the community center once a month, not a town hall meeting. Whoever was in charge would send 2 managers from 2 departments once a month to the community center, and we could go across the street and tell them. I asked my team would they be willing to look at that as an idea. She said, second of all, we had biannual meet and greets at the Dreiser Community Center. They would invite all the vendors, the churches, everybody that had anything to do with Co-op City. We'd all go, meet the new people. The old timers would go because they have new ideas, all the stores, everybody would be there. Third, I asked my team if they'd be willing to write this resolution with me to bring back the Community Relations Committee. The Community Relations Committee was the committee where shareholders could serve on the committee and bring their ideas to the committee that they had for Co-op City. And the board member would bring those ideas to the board. That's how you build community engagement. You have community engagement events where you put your work and money behind it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mary Pearson, you're next.
Okay, we're trying to, of course, we all want to increase community engagement and have people come together, but we can't have 15,000 times whatever number getting together anywhere, not even in our spacious grounds. But we're talking mostly about now, right? About how do you increase voting? How do you get people enthusiastic about voting? And we need to codify the election rules. They need to be set in stone. They can't change every year. People have to not be so confused. Well, when does it start? When does it end? It's all different times. It's different lengths. The number of extensions can change year to year. 1 year it's 3 extensions. Last year, only 1 was an automatic extension, which caused a lot of problems. That the number that you can vote for, the number of candidates, usually 5, this year it's 6, or you can vote for 0, voting just for quorum. I think adding the, nobody's really mentioning it so much, but adding the referendum, do you want to ban smoking in individual apartments, or do you not want to do that? Referendums should be just so often used for anything that is discretionary. Do you want a dog park, like someone said? Yes. Do you want certain, well, I don't, next time.
Thank you, Mary. Next we have Aaron Carnegie.
Yes, hi, thank you. You know, it's, this is the last forum, so I'm gonna let it all out there now. There's only one thing we have to do. We have to change the rules of these elections. As someone indicated already, we have over 14 pages of rules that we have to know, memorize, and recite back in Latin or whatever. So we have to change the rules. I'm a building president. There are about 7 building presidents in this room by my count now. I can't go as a candidate to their building association meetings and say, hi, I'm running, ask me whatever questions you want. That should not be. That's how you engage in this community. That's why we have these forums, but guess what? After this is it. This is the 3rd one. So what happens for the next 3 weeks or so? Nothing. When we could have been going out and actually campaigning like the political politicians do, going to the building organizations and introducing ourselves for those who do not know who we are. And another thing, if you're running for the board, people should know who you are, because we should already be on committees and giving information back to building associations, like I've been doing for the past 3-4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Hi, Shandy Zelda, Montgomery Community First. The first thing, like my teammate, Dr. Keyshawn White and Leah Graham said, it's about the community. And last year, community members that did vote felt their vote was disenfranchised. They felt that their voice was taken away. So if you want to gain the community's commitment to continuing with being part of the election process, you have to not leave them out. No one spoke to the community members that actually voted before they discarded their votes in the first place. No, for whatever reason, we didn't meet quorum. We had an opportunity to extend the vote, but the decision was made for the cooperatives who already voted. So if you're asking us and you're asking the community to get involved and to continue on with the process of our elections, you have to make sure that they are part of the process. You can't tell them to be part of the process when it's time to vote, but when it's time to make decisions to continue the process, then all of a sudden you want to stop it and you want to make closed door decisions. It has to be all or nothing. It can't be your way or the highway. If you want the community to be involved, the community that did vote last year, you should have put them together in Dreiser Loop or in Einstein Loop and let them know, listen, this is what happened, this is the process, and this is why we feel we're not continuing the vote, that we're stopping it before we reach quorum. You can't have it both ways. They need to be involved more.
Thank you very much. Bernie Savage.
You wanna have the community come out and vote? Tell you what, in the village, in the Amalgamated Housing Co-op in the West Bronx, they're going to implement a 45% carry charge increase. You want the vote to come out? People come out? Let the board vote a 45% increase. You'll see people coming out, voting this out. Fine. However, to be realistic, I've over the years proposed 2 things that we need to do. I remember when one time we had those machine ballots in the lobbies, and the people would walk by, and I said, aren't you gonna vote? And they sneered at me, contemptuously. Why? This is one time you want me to participate, I'm a co-owner, and you want to participate in an election which I don't know who's running, why? We have to change it. The only way I propose we change it is we reestablish a Congress, Co-op City Congress, where we get represented from all the buildings in one room, and they deal with issues that are non-fiduciary responsibilities, like building and grounds, youth, public safety. All these issues they can deal with, come back with proposal because they're dealing with the cooperatives in the buildings. That's one. The second, okay, that's it.
Thank you, Bernie. We have a brief announcement we'd like to make right now. Go ahead, Anika.
Thank you. At this time, the committee would like to remind the audience to refrain from outbursts or disruptive noises during the forum and to respect the candidates. So please do not speak, cheer, or boo during the debate. There will be time for all of that at the end, I promise.
Thank you. Next, we have Ezekiel Springer.
Thank you. The issue with voting, there's a malaise throughout the country about voting, and things have to change. I agree that we have to change the rules for this election and make it more so that we can go out and about and meet you guys and talk to you guys in the ways that you need us to meet you. But also, at the same time, with new people coming into the community, we have to stress that you are a shareholder, not a renter. People, tell your neighbors, tell them, you are a shareholder, not a renter. As president of Building 32 Association, we put a suggestion box in our laundry room, and that was helpful. Also, during our meetings, we told our members of the association to give us information on what is going on, what complaints that you have. And we've taken those complaints and we've taken them to the CSO office, and we've seen positive results. And also, let's have, as people said, let's have more events, fun events. One fun day, it's not enough. But use those as a Trojan horse, sort of, for stressing the vote and community engagement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Person.
Thank you. I do agree, suggestion boxes are actually a good thing, but they need to be seen. They need to be a place where shareholders can see it, so that way they know it's use for them. We have TVs that do advertising, right? When this comes around, that TV should have a voice, it should have a sound, because people are impacted by hearing. So if I could hear an advertisement, you've got me. I've probably got you, right? Now, door to door petitions. Sometimes you need to have and to gain trust, because you don't know me from a hole in the wall, right? You don't. It's okay. But I want to see you. I want to knock on that door. And I want you to open. And I'm going to tell you, hi, how are you? My name is Corazon Fernandez. Please vote for me. And that's how it has to be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Person.
Thank you. Okay, before we move to question number 3, everybody look to your right and say neighbor. No, 4 people did it. Everybody look to your right and say neighbor. There we go. Please
Neighbor.
silence all mobile devices.
You know?
All right. Now, Keyshawn, I know we left you out of that one, so everyone look to your left and say neighbor. Please silence all mobile devices. All righty. Sounds like we're ready for question number 3. Okay. Is the audience ready? Thank you. Question number 3. We will go in the same order we've been going in. What skills do you possess that will help Co-op City solve the important financial issues we are facing? We will start with Keyshawn White.
Dr. Keyshawn White, Community First Team. For over 16 years, I worked at Deutsche Bank Trust Company of America's and Corporate Investment Banking Group. Part of my job was to secure financing, mergers and acquisitions, development, packaging of securities, working with municipal agencies, the State University of New York, the School Construction Authority, along with many other Fortune 500 companies in progressing and procuring financing. Conversely, for the past 16 years, I have served as the pastor of Second Providence Baptist Church in Harlem, New York. We have just completed a $32 million construction project building a brand new state-of-the-art church facility as well as housing within the same structure. I am quite adept at managing and overseeing the budget and procurement process, of also having oversight over vendors and construction companies, as well as developers in the project, and oversight of quality control in a building process. I understand it from front to end. It's part of one of the things that I had to do. And what I will bring to Co-op City is the same level of quality and excellence and budget control that I brought not only in my role as an investment banker, but also as my role as a pastor who was accountable to the congregants of my congregation.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yes, hi. Skill sets can be very subjective, so let me explain what I bring to the table. I'm a behind the scenes kind of guy. What do I mean? I'm an information junkie. I will take the numbers, I create the spreadsheets, I create the PowerPoint presentations. I'll take the information that my team will give me and put it in a format that's easy to read, easy to understand, and easy to explain. No, I don't have accounting experience. That is not my forte. My forte is gathering all of the information and making it palatable so that you can understand it. Because we can sit here and give you stats, numbers all day, and after a while, it just becomes information overload. My job is to present it in a format that's easy to see, easy to read, and easy to understand. So I bring my technical skills to the team as it relates to that. And so when we get together and you hear all of the verbalization that you'll hear, I'll take the verbalization and just show you pictures because I'm a picture guy. I'm a visual guy, and that works. Thank you.
Thank you. Leah?
Hello. I have over, about 30 years in the analyst profession. I am a program analyst. I have over 20 years combined experience in management, budgeting, contracts and acquisition, and I'm a certified instructor. I have been on your board director for 6 years, from 2010 to 2016. And during that time, I chaired your budget committee, and I also was helped facilitate you having televised board meetings. I also got approval for us to have orientations for new board directors. So I was what you would consider a hard-working director. I visited many building association meetings, and my skill set is really business focused. I am very result driven. What I do every day, I work at a headquarters level. I've been at that level for many years, and all I know is positive results. I am a person that will move the needle. I am a person that's very caring, compassionate, and I'm very engaging. Anyone who knows me, even as a building president, know that I say hello to everybody. I love people. I love this community, and me and my team will take care of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
I don't have an accounting background, but I'm able to listen, I'm able to analyze information presented to me. As a board member, we are not responsible for day-to-day operations. We do go through the process of screening and making sure that the managers we choose is presenting the information to us that we need in order to analyze, to make a decision with you in mind. That is what I bring to the table. We are not going to just, because we were presented with information, just swallow that information. We go through a process of analyzing the information that we've gotten. We have a board meeting, before our board meeting, we have a briefing session to ask every question that we can in order to gather enough information to make appropriate decisions for you. That is what I am willing to, that is what I do when we get information. We don't just make a decision. I've been on the board when we just hear yes, 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 and nobody asks any questions. I've been there. That's not what we do. That's not what I do. I make sure I ask until I understand before I make a decision. That is what I do. That's what I bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacqueline?
Good evening, Jacqueline Smith, Community First Team. I'm an administrator, social worker, associate teacher. I bring to the table analytical abilities, research capabilities. The primary responsibility of a board member is fiduciary. That is the truth. We are supposed to be able to look at that budget and find the pork. That is one of the oaths we take. I may not have an accounting degree, but I definitely can do it good enough. But my team members, what I don't have, they don't have. What I'm most proud of, though, is I myself am responsible for help shaping a city agency, a whole division, implementing a reform around juvenile detention in New York City. I was able to be a change agent. I shifted the culture. I have the dedication when I believe in something to put my back in it, give it my all, passion, late nights, research, working with people, compromising, collaborative, creativity. That's why I love my team. All of those skills and all those desires I have. Please vote for Community First. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
I'm Mary Pearson. I have been a working New York City musician for about 33 years. I retired last year because I was sick of singing through a mask. I decided it just wasn't worth it. I had my own business for those 33 years. I booked myself, I booked other people. I was a concert producer, a play producer. That takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of numbers. It takes a lot of dealing with different personalities, and all of them rock because it's music. Okay. Then I got on the board and I started working on certain committees that saved the community money. The insurance committee, we couldn't do much with the premiums, but we could do something with the commission. And it saved, I think at the end, with Monique, getting them to freeze the commission even though the price of the policies kept going up. And then a phone call that I had for a couple hours with one of the guys, and the next morning he lowered his commission an extra 4 points than he had promised. So I've saved the community money that way. I also was on the committee to reevaluate the rooms when the rooms, our rooms were open to outside renters. So once we wanted to recoup some of the money from Dreiser Auditorium and the smaller rooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron?
Thank you, Aaron Carnegie. I said this was the third forum, so I was gonna leave it all out there. You can have all the degrees you want, you can have all the experience that you gain, but if you lack common sense, you will still lead us to ruin. Right now, I'm a building president. I'm a proven leader. I was on the ad hoc committee. I was actually one of the chairs of the MTA committee. I'm an innovative thinker. Now, am I perfect? No, I am not. Nor do I claim to be. Do I have a lot of ideas? Yes, I do. Those of you who know me know I have a lot of ideas. Will they all work? No. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to try. Because guess what? When you're in a room full of 15 people, maybe that idea sparks something else, then sparks something else, and now we have a way to save money that no one was thinking of. So that's what I bring to the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shannon?
Hello, Shannon Zelda Montgomery, Community First Team. We were asked the same question the first forum, and I ran down a list of things that I feel I'm proud of that I've accomplished, and things that I can bring to the board, especially critical thinking skills. Now we know the different responsibilities that the board needs to do in order to make this community work. we need to represent co-op members. You have to have critical thinking skills in order to represent the cooperatives and represent the shareholders and represent this community as best as you possibly can. My degrees and my 24 years of education, as well as working for records management with a team of 10 and doing contracts, working on contracts, being a NYSERD delegate, a NYSERD delegate for the New York State Teachers Retirement System, as well as United Teachers. I've done all of that. But what is really important is how do we treat our community when we have the opportunity to be at that table? And it seems like we haven't treated our community fair. We haven't done what we should be doing for our community. And that's why the Community First team is ready to get in there and to get our hands dirty, to find out the areas that are lacking. Why did we have an 8.1% increase when it was told that to HCR it's 2.1? How can the numbers be so skewed and so off? And those are things that we're going to look at.
Thank you. Bernie?
With this community, as well as many other communities, we're facing an existential threat by the powerful insurance companies. Every year they come to us with double-digit increases. Whose wages are increased double-digit? And yet they come there and they threaten us. In fact, if we don't get it, we don't purchase their program, we'll be stuck because HUD and HCR demands that we carry insurance. My proposal is that we convene this co-op, the board, convene a citywide meeting with all the co-ops and all other even renters to put together a program to stop this gouging. And I propose we offer a national program. In Britain, you know who offers insurance? The post office. We can do it too here. But we have to get together, and we can't be fighting individually. We have illusions. If we're going to win by fighting these insurance companies alone, it ain't going to happen. We got to build a coalition, and I've done that before, so I don't have to spell it out, my record of that. But that's what I would propose to the board. And I did propose it, but we didn't have time to consider. That's where we're going to win. We ain't going to win by fighting them individually every time and cut the commission here.
Thank you, Bernie. Ezekiel?
Thank you. I've spent the last 25 years in network television quality control. So my job is to analyze what is wrong and what is right with government broadcast signals to make sure that the broadcast signals adhere to government standards. So I have a good eye, I have a good ear. I also mean test standard operating procedures as part of my job, so I can also mean test what is going on in the boardroom. I'm no accountant, I'm no bookkeeper. My skill is to just make sure product is correct and good to go. And lastly, I work with my wife in creating a budget in our home, as I'm sure you also create budgets for your home. And by creating our budget, I've been able, and we've been able, my wife's in the back hiding, we've been able to not only keep our home solving, we've been able to keep our home thriving. Thank you.
Thank you. Corazon?
I work for the federal government, and I can see through good management and future waste. But I'm not here to be management, I'm here to be a board of director, right? Board of directors are the ones who implement policies and ideas, and the way we do that is through you, the shareholders. We go through the shareholders, listen to your concerns, and voice them back to management. So, yeah, thank you, and that's all.
Thank you.
Corazon, we're gonna reverse the order, so you're gonna have the next question. What would your strategy be as a board member to help manage costs more effectively to avoid significant increases in carrying charges in the future? Do I need to repeat it?
One more time.
What would your strategy be as a board member to help manage costs more effectively to avoid significant increases in carrying charges in the future?
That's a great question. I mean, truth be told, wouldn't the public want to know though too? I mean, how can I effectively, sitting down right now as we are, but with management, as we are, we have to come together and strategize. We have to figure it out, you know. And again, that strategy being going, I want to say, I'm gonna have to pass on this one. I have to think on that one.
Okay. Ezekiel, do I need to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
One thing we can do to try and mitigate this 8.1% increase, we have to reach out to our state and local government. Local government can help us with the water board because our water bill went up ridiculously, and the federal government has to help us with insurance. Our insurance doubled, and basically now with the fires in California, flooding in Florida and in the Gulf, insurance companies think they have us over a barrel, and they're doing whatever they want. They're having their way with us throughout the country, and Co-op City is no different. And that's one of the reasons why ours doubled. And I perished the thought what that fire is going to happen to our insurance when that all gets counted. So we have to reach out to the federal government to help us get the insurers under control. Also, we can look at increasing revenue. We can maybe look into ground leasing areas here in Co-op City that we're not using. Maybe we can lease it to outside businesses and companies and get revenue that way. I have more, but I'm out of time.
Thank you. Bernie Silage?
Yeah, some folks think we're living in a bubble. No, we're not living in a bubble. We're subject to all the inflationary pressures around us, and we have to consider them when we prepare a budget. Let me give you one example. We've cut the payroll by 39%. We've eliminated certain. We've in the restoration department, we've gained $2 million, reducing use of asbestos, certified asbestos abatements. We've increased revenue from equity increases, from surcharges, from the power plant. But there's a limit where we can go and cut back payroll, because then it's going to affect our quality of life. No, we have to do is work collectively with other co-ops who are facing similar problems and try to together formulate a strategy to get the city and state to be responsible for the well-being of this middle-income housing companies. They're all suffering from the same malaise, increasing cost that's gone beyond their ability to retain it as a middle-income family housing companies.
Thank you, Bernie. Shana?
Shannon Zunda Montgomery. First, we need to look at how did we get into this situation in the first place to where we're getting so many increases back to back. We really need to look at the books. We need to look at the accounting. What's happening with the money? We know the money that's coming in. How is the money going out? And why is there so much money going out? Why are we paying so many people so much to do so little? So we need to find that out. We need to strategize. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when George Latimer was here, someone asked him about insurance charges or water bill, and he said that we should get the government involved, that there are programs or different things that we can go for, and we need to, call on our local officials and people to get involved. Why can't they get involved now? Don't wait for us to vote for you. Get involved right now. Also, I read in the paper just recently, but I also spoke with City Councilman Andy King, and he said that we were trying to, and he's been trying to do this for years, to make Co-op City a historical landmark. And someone wrote about that in the paper. I don't know how feasible that would be, but that's definitely something we can look at because we get enormous tax breaks and we get so many other things that come along with it. And I know some people are breathing hard about that. However, that's definitely something to look into because I've been here 24 years and no one has ever talked about making Co-op City a historical landmark. I've never heard that before.
Thank you very much. Aaron Carnegie.
Hi, yes, thank you.
You're free.
Co-op is actually very unique. There's no other place like it in this country, the size that we are. We have our own unique challenges. What we need to do is find alternative sources of income. We right now have a 501c3, we all know it as the Riverbay Fund. It is not functioning properly. It needs to be revamped so that it goes after the funds that we should be able to get and not have it come out of our pocket. For instance, when they recently redid our lobby doors. That was to make it more ADA compliant. They got $1 million, or used $1 million of a grant that they have. That should have been, all of it should have been a grant, not just $1 million. We have to start going after the big money grants. We can't just do it where it's, 30,000 here, or like the dog park, 53,000 there. That's not enough. That's small change. We're Co-op City. We're 15,000 apartments. We're almost 50,000 people here. We can't do that. We have to start going after the big banks for the $10 million grants. So like I said, we need to start thinking outside the box, and we need to start looking at alternative sources of income. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Pearson.
Hi, I am Mary Pearson, and I have 3 things I want to get in over 30 seconds each. Okay, insurance. Insurance is handled on the state level. About 38 states have things in place. A vehicle that is like Cobra for health insurance, but for property insurance. Well, there goes that 30 seconds. We have it here, but for single-family homes and up to 4-family homes, you pay $75 on $50,000 worth of insurance. We have about $900,000. That would add up to $900,000 for our insurance policy that we pay $7 million for. We have to gather everybody, every market rate rent co-ops in the entire state to get that vehicle. People are working on it. We should work harder. Our power plant saves us and earns us money. It could become obsolete unless we get some grants to do some experimenting with geothermal. There's different kinds of geothermal. You don't have to go to the center of the earth. And then the that's it.
Thank you, Mary.
And the convectors, you didn't go big.
That's okay. Are you? Your time stopped. Our timer failed to signal you. Oh, that's because you said you were done, so we stopped the clock. Okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay, Jacqueline Smith. Are you ready?
Yes, could you please repeat the question?
Absolutely. What would your strategy be as a board member to help manage costs more effectively to avoid significant increases in carrying charges in the future?
Okay, hi, my name is Jacqueline Smith, Community First. The first thing I think I need to do is understand why I'm there. Management is responsible for insurance. We hired Douglas Elliman, Mr. Marvin. They are responsible to look into insurance. In the risk management department, they should be in there every day, every moment of the day, looking for ways and means and reporting back to the board. I don't have any insurance experience. I never worked for Allstate. That's my understanding of a management company when I hire them. But we can have a budget committee whereby the 15 board members have an opportunity, beginning in September when the session begins, to review this budget all the way until you get to March of the next year and you have to vote on it. To get all 15 of them, regardless of the skill set that you bring them to the board with, they have an opportunity to look at it. I agree with that. I'm so glad to hear we're hiring a compliance officer. I'm not here to be combative, but I said you don't know you have integrity until you have to use it. I was never explained to me how a project went from 30 million to 60 million. Now that's just the facts. Now, did we hire the proper staff when the project began? You know, we have people on the board, retired architects. Did we hire proper people to go on the scaffold? These are the strategies. Making sure that we're hiring the proper, and we must look at whether or not we have someone on the payroll who can write grants.
Thank you very much. Andrea Leslie.
Hi, I'm Andrea Leslie, and I ask that you vote for myself, Kevin Fogey, Bernie Salins, Mary Pearson, Sheila Richburg, and Ezekiel Springer Jr. Thank you. Part of what I think that we need to do, a major issue that has cost us a lot of money is we have an aging infrastructure, and in the past, there's not been a lot of maintenance and paying attention to the decay of some of our infrastructure. And now, of course, it's getting to a point that we have to replace things, repair things, and those things cost more the longer you put them off. And that is a cost that ends up affecting our budget. We need to create a maintenance program that we make sure that our infrastructure is closely paid attention to, that we don't allow it to decay, because that would cost us down the road. Another thing that we need to do is really still take a look at different departments and make sure that we have cross-trained staff that we can implement and have them work, making sure that there is a duplication in departments so that we can eliminate and prevent workers from doing the same thing in different departments. That is part of the plan already to
Thank you
reduce
very much.
departments.
Thank you. Next we have Leah. Go ahead.
Hello? Planning. If you vote for Community First and Aaron Carnegie, you will get planning. Now, I have a list here because I'm a project analyst, so here we go. My strategy would be one, is to provide ongoing budget reviews. Ongoing. We would reestablish a budget committee and bring some of the talents in the community to the table. We would enhance the oversight to the managing agent to ensure that we establish guardrails on overspending. We would create earmarks. Again, planning. We know local law 11 is every 5 years. We need to plan for that, right? We would foster hiring the right people. With that local law 11 that went from 37 million to 77 million, I don't know who was fired, but one of the people wasn't even experienced to provide oversight. Hire a contracting specialist or a contracting officer who knows how to prevent low bidding and multiple change orders. Minimize increasing our payroll burden. And lastly, asking our elected officials to help with this asbestos floor policy.
Thank you very much.
I got that out.
Kevin Fogey.
Kevin of the Impact Team. One of the things I think is going to be absolutely necessary is you must review the financial reports. We can't wait till a crisis comes to then realize we don't have the money, we're under and or over budget. What I suggest is one of two things. Either you hire an expert that we retain that understands the economics, inflation rates, the same way that they do the stock market, the same way that they watch the Federal Reserve and everything that's associated with the economy running, we can use that model here. And one of the things I think might help, I don't know if we can do it, but I believe in investing in the workers that are already here. We keep hiring outside contractors. If we can find a way to train a certain group of people in the very things that we're gonna hire an outside contractor for, but we afford that skill set to labor that's already here, that's an incentive for them to do well for us. They can become certified electricians and everything else that's needed. So we need to constantly look and review at the budget, make changes when necessary, and invest in the labors that we already have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keyshawn White.
Keyshawn White, Community First Team. First thing is, Co-op City operates and is much like a small city within itself. We have about 40,000 residents. We have about 320 acres of property. We have a budget of around 260 million, 94% of which comes from our carrying charges. We have to begin to look at our budget in ways to grow that 6% that does not come from carrying charges, to enlarge that number, to begin to shrink back on the actual amount that the carrying charges represent of our budget. We have to begin to look at innovative ways of having corporations and others invest as we're looking for ways to innovate and to modernize our electric and power plant, to look at ways that we are bringing in revenues to increase, to invest in our community, as well as our social programs that are here. Corporations have billions of dollars every year that they give away to communities just like us. We have to begin to start to think outside of the box at those areas of revenue that we can bring in that will begin to lower the burden. Also, we have to begin to look at our managing agent, have our managing agent do an in-depth review of many of the people who are represented. A few weeks ago, I was at a board meeting where one of the people who got up and represented and talked about the competitors had no clue of what they were talking about. And we were gonna spend billions of dollars to implement that.
Thank you very much. Next, question number 5.
So we will begin to my right with Corazon for this question as well. Please let me know if you need me to repeat it. How will you work with others to bring solutions to the community?
First and foremost, working with others. For me, working with others, that means as the shareholders, I have to make sure that I'm letting the shareholders know exactly what's going on, making them aware, implementing, petitioning, also going to elected officials, trying to see how I can get elected officials to join forces with the community, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to bridge each other to have a better relationship. And that's it, that's all.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Ezekiel.
Zeke Springer, Impact Team. Well, I'm pretty much already doing that as a building president. I'm talking to our association members, I'm talking to people in my building, and I'm taking their concerns back to my CSO office. And like I said before, we're seeing positive results. It's been helpful. And I'm also attending Section 5 meetings, as all the building presidents of Section 5 do. And we come together and we discuss Section 5 complaints and issues that shareholders have within Section 5. And also with that, I go to the CSO meetings and I take that to the CSO and building manager. And they hear our complaints and they hear our issues. And they give us good feedback and they give us good information back. It's a nice back and forth. And we get things done. Maybe not to the extent that we fully need, but there's communication there. And if you don't know me already, you know I'm a good communicator. People that know me, they know I like to talk. So this is actually like keeping me in check, actually. But The communication is there. I'm already doing it as building president with CSO and building managers.
Thank you. Bernie?
Over the years, I've initiated various coalitions and been part of it. And let me just briefly go over. 1974, I joined the legislative committee of the Culp City Council. I presented a proposal that we go to Albany and demand that they consider not implementing the 61% carrying charge increase. In 1986, I organized lobbies to Albany. We collected 8,000 signatures against a 49% carrying charge increase. In 2010, we initiated on the board to establish restoring bus service cuts, and we collected 8,000 signatures. In 2019, I again initiated in the board a coalition to reestablish the bus service cut, restore the bus service cut, and we accomplished something. So all my participation in the community has been coalition building, and some of them we succeeded, and some, of course, we did not. And of course, we did not give up, and we will not give up. I will not give up. Thank you.
Thank you. Shannon?
Leadership skills, when you're put into a leadership position, leadership should be subservient. We should be that for the shareholders. The hardest thing that board members, I believe, when coming together is there are so many different, I don't want to say egos, maybe some, but there are just so many different ideas, so many different talents, so many different things that everyone wants to bring about. Everybody wants to write a resolution about something. Everyone has things on their mind, ideas that they want to implement in Co-op City. So I think the biggest thing is coming together, and even though we have various ideas, different things that we want to do for the community, is we all need to be one voice. When we come together in that boardroom, we need to be one voice. And I think that seems to be lacking when you vote on certain things and resolutions are presented and people have these strong ideas of who they think they are. Are you really presenting resolutions, or are you presenting ideas based on what would benefit you or what would benefit the community? And I think when people come together, they have to make sure that they're coming together for the best situation at hand, not for personal gain or, for personal pride, or this is about the community. And I think once you understand that when those doors are closed, we have decisions to be made based on the community, not based on individual wants and needs. So working together, that should just come naturally.
Thank you. Aaron?
Hi, can you repeat the question?
How will you work with others to bring solutions to the community?
Thank you, I just want to make sure I get it right. Similar to Ezekiel, like I said, I'm a building president. I was also the co-chair of the ad hoc committee. My role as a building president is to bring information to my association. My role is to educate, to engage with my building. Right now, I'm currently on a couple of committees for Riverbay. I'm on the construction committee, power plant. Being on those committees, you have information. You're given information that is vital to the shareholders. That's why I always encourage shareholders to go to their association meetings. A lot of association meetings only have 10 people going. When we have a building of 300 or 500 in my case, you need more people going to these association meetings and listening to the information that is given to them, because a lot of us, not just myself, but a lot of us are going to these committees and we're getting information that is not shared with you until it's after the fact. If you come to the social meeting, you will get it prior to, let's say, an open board meeting. So, like I said, my role, education, and that's why I'm on these committees, to bring the information back to the shareholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
I am a professional complainer, but I'm also a full-time explainer. I've written hundreds of viewpoints to try to demystify the budget when it's printed, what are the little details of screen, who's eligible for it. not the main things, not 62 years old and no more than $50,000 in the combined, but the little things, like how much do you take off for utilities, how much can you earn, what parts are your earnings, stuff like that. Anyway, I write all the time. I write about saving Ramp C, trying to explain why it was important to do it. It failed. Not only did it fail as one of 3 roads leading into Section 5, leaving us pretty much like an island without boats. And nobody who was not living in Section 5 could actually understand why it was such an important road to save. But we weren't even able to save a remnant of it when the Metro North comes. It would be important to have that extra remnant. We can still get it through I-95 both ways, south of the tracks access to the railroad station.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jacqueline.
Thank you. Jacqueline Smith, Community First. I'm really excited about the fact that the Community Relations Committee might come back if myself or my team makes it. And if we don't make it, and they do and I don't, I still would serve on the committee. You see, it's at that committee where the ideas of the shareholders will be heard. Historically, that was the committee. It was disbanded. And when, like we say in the event business, most of that business was given to the fund, all right? I have the ability, I know how to write grants. I'm a certified grant writer. I have to first find out, I think there's somebody on the Riverbay payroll that is supposed to be writing grants, but I can write grants. We can, and I can say this, there's green money out there. We can get money to revamp the bottom dryser and this courtyard. So for me, when I was on the MTA committee working on the bus routes along with some of the people on the dais, I enjoyed, my role was going out and encouraging you to do the survey so we could take the data and present it to MTA. I really enjoy that. I have a lot of skills, but I like being a social worker. You know, I might not make as much as my sister who's a lawyer, but I enjoy social working. I enjoy working with people. I like to help. And I think that the Community Relations Committee is going to be instrumental in bringing this community back to life. It's going to be lit.
Thank you. Andrea?
Hi, the first thing that I'm asking for your vote for myself, Andrea Leslie, Bernie Siley, Ezekiel Springer Jr., Mary Pearson, Sheila Richburn, and Kevin Fogarty. The first thing that I do is make sure that I keep you uppermost in my mind when I'm making a decision, because I know that every decision that I make in that boardroom is going to affect you in some way. I come into that boardroom with an open mind, willing to learn, willing to listen, being respectful of others, so that we can work together to accomplish the goal of making sure that this community is fiscally sound, our infrastructure is repaired and in good condition, and we have good community service.
Thank you. Leah Graham?
Yes. So if you elect me, Leah Graham, and my Community First team, some of the things that I would do to bring about solutions in our communities would be, one, I would support Jacqueline's Community Relations Committee, bringing that back. One, I would support holding gallery-only sessions, not including you guys during our board meetings, hearing only you, and having some responsive actions based on what you're sharing. Also, if you were to elect me, I would pick up that stick as I did before, and I would continue to be that hard-working director that all of you guys loved and responded to me about. I would continue to collaborate with the other hard-working directors and offer solutions that would improve this community. I would also respect your vote during every election. I would also respect the employees that work here and continue my positive working relationship with the different department heads that are here. I would continue being an active Building 23 president, where I have 33 floors with over half of them being floor captains. I will continue to invite others to my building meetings as I have done and continue to do. And I would reestablish the budget committee and include the community. It is important for community first to be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Kevin of the Impact Team. You know, as a pastor, we do a lot of preaching and teaching, and we come with a lot of skills that we use to run a ministry. But what I find the most beneficial skill set is listening. Listening. When you understand that you're not an island all by yourself, when you understand that it takes a community, it takes a team. My thing that I've learned at peril, if you will, is learn to ask questions. Don't assume that you think you know because you think you know. To bring solutions to the community, I need to know what the community's thinking. I need to know how you're processing the data. Because once we now open up that channel of communication and don't think that because we have the degree, because we have the title and everything else that's associated with it, it doesn't mean we have all the answers. What I'm looking for is to hear what you can help bring to the community. Then collectively, we work together. So working with you means hearing what you have to say and then getting back to you in a timely fashion by phone call, emails, and things like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keyshawn?
Dr. Keyshawn White of Community First Team. My colleague here stole a lot of my thunder. I guess it's the preacher in us or the pastor in us that has this common ground of listening and being able to hear. First step of being able to build proper coalitions, to be able to get things done, is to first to listen and hear you, the cooperators, your concerns, your needs. Then to be able to listen to others. The Bible says in Proverbs 11:14 that in the multitude of counselors that there is victory. Listening to the voices of others, hearing their opinions and their feelings, knowing what needs to be done, and listening not to respond, but listening to actually hear what is going on. A lot of times we try to listen just to give a response, but we don't really try to hear what the problem or the situation is. We have to be active listeners, and that helps to build coalitions. And I think that that is what exists in the Community First Team. So what we're asking you to do is to cast your ballot, your vote, for myself, Keyshawn White, for Jacqueline Smith, for Shauna Montgomery, and for Leah Graham, because we will listen to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're moving on. We're almost there. Question number 6. Corazon. What do you believe are the most pressing issues facing Riverbay? And how would you address them as a board member?
For right now, Corazon Fernandez, I'm here with you. Vote for me. And thank you for your time. The pressing concerns right now is the gas cutoffs, electricity shutdowns, hot water turn-offs, ongoing air conditioning troubles, the waiting for a phone call back for a maintenance issue. Just even waiting for service anyways. It's a pressing issue. At this point in time right now, I'm just a board member. I'm trying to be a board member, right? You guys, shareholders, you're the first one. How to fix this is with you. And how we go about it is with management, because management is the one who has the final say. I bring in the concerns, we bring in the concerns, management has the final say. We figure out a budget and plan it out. But right about now, it's all about the shareholders. And thank you.
Thank you. Ezekiel?
Zeke Springer, Impact Team. concerns that I have, of course, and I've stated them already, affordability. We need to sic the government onto HCR so that we can be on the same page with HCR and have the government twist their arms a little bit, and also have the government twist the arms of the insurers, the liability insurers. Also, safety. I think we need more cameras in and around Co-op City, cameras in the stairwells, more cameras in the lobbies that point in useful directions, and also in the laundry room and on our streets within. And also visibility with CCPD officers, and make sure that we are able to fill those 39 open positions with CCPD, fill them and keep them filled with incentives for these officers, because once they get their license, they go bye-bye to New Rochelle, Westchester, all of that. And lastly, the convectors. There is the pilot program that's going on. Convectors, it is the bane of our existence here in Co-op City. I'm liking what's happening with the pilot program. Hopefully we will find a solution with one of the 6 companies that we're working with.
Thank you. Bernie Silage?
To echo what Ezekiel has said in regard to the convectors, that's one of the issues that we were concerned with when I first came on the board. And we, as chairman of the construction committee, we came with a proposal, the first proposal that began to hopefully solve the problem. And since then, managers picked up and they came up with 5 other proposals, and it's a pilot program, and we won't know the results until after the season. The second issue that you talked about before is in regard to the existential threat of the insurance companies, threatening us with enormous increases in the premiums. We can't, I'm worried about the threat now to their survival, because the way they go every year is doubling the increases. And the only way I see it is that I will do is, if I get re-elected, I will work with the board to initiate a citywide meeting here with all the co-ops throughout the city, and perhaps others too. And maybe it has to grow into a national level, because this is a national issue. Really hurt every working family who owns a house or is a co-op.
Thank you. Shana?
Shannon Zella Montgomery, Community First Team. There are so many issues that are plaguing Co-op City right now. We really need to get inside and find out what's happening with Co-op City. What's going on with finances? Like I said before, that's one of the biggest things. Why are we continuously getting these high increases? What's going to be for the future of Co-op City? How can we stop pretty much the bleed that's happening here? Community engagement is so low right now. People are so disengaged that they just turn around. Like I was told today, we only have maybe 400 votes or something to that nature. Like to that number. I'm sorry. We really need to just get the community back engaged into what we're doing. We need to be more visible with our actions, with what's happening behind the scenes. I think people are just left to their own devices, like nothing is going to change. I don't care about what's happening. I just give up. And what happens is eventually you become priced out of the community. And as much as we would like to think, oh, we are the best bargain in town, how long will we continue to be the best bargain in town? We have to really find out what's happening with our finances. Because like they say, money does make the world go around. And when you're financially unstable, you can't think, you can't breathe, everything around you collapses. So I think we're collapsing, and we have the solutions to try to bring this community back alive.
Thank you. Aaron?
Thank you. We're starting to lose people, starting to get empty in here. So I won't bore you with a long old answer. One of the main concerns that we have here is safety. Now, people say it's because Co-op City CCPD is invisible. Well, the problem is we don't have enough CCPD. Unfortunately, in 2023, the board, that budget was, they didn't use it for a recruiting class. Well, if you don't use a recruiting class, you got people leaving, but you have no one coming in. And that's how stuck us now. We have no one coming in until we get through this recruiting class. And now the problem is we're supposed to have 40 people show up for the process. 25 showed up. I think 3 failed. It was an agility course that literally you had to carry someone walking and doing, I think, a light run. 3 people failed it. So now it takes 18 months to go through that recruiting class. So we will not have new CCPD officers that are the ones that are being trained now until December of 2025. So, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot continue to have board members, and we must always, always, always have a recruiting class coming in each year because we will lose officers for one reason or another. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mary Pierce.
Okay, what's the biggest problems facing us? Insurance, absolutely. We need a public option. We should all work toward that. We need our convectors for many reasons. If we get the living room convectors, which is the plan right now, we're getting the 32 convectors in building 14, line E. They've been designed for us. They are not the same convectors that are in Rochdale, but all of the important research that went into getting Rochdale convectors has also gone into ours plus, because the guy who's supplying the 32 convectors for the price of $65,000 would be able to supply 15,000 convectors for the price of $37.5 million. We happen to have 40 million earmarked left over from the 88 million that is left over from our refinance that we had our hands on $114.5 million. If we had not refinanced, we would all had to have our carrying charges raised 57%. That didn't happen. That was a big dodge the bullet moment, and thank you to everyone who was involved in doing that.
Thank you, Mary. Jacqueline.
Good evening. Douglas Elliman is one of the most prestigious real estate companies in the country. They should have the expertise, a bigger Rolodex than Riverbay could ever have, and they are responsible to getting all their partners together and work on the insurance problem, okay? I think one of the biggest things we have to look at is our operating costs through the roof. Now, I'm not quite sure what's left in earmark, but I can tell you that the brickwork in the townhouses has not begun. So I don't know where we're going to get the money to start working on 15,000 apartments in a convector. I need to take a look at those financials, because the money that was earmarked for the brickwork of the townhouses that was taken out of the 21-22 budget was promised to return. I think the biggest issue we need to look at that is the responsibility of the board is policy. We need to take a look at HR. What is the sense in sending someone to my house 2 years ago, hired a vendor, came in for 2 days, fixed the roof, fixed the flooding in the closet, the black gook, and now the bucket that I told you about at Dreiser is still in the foyer? We have to look at the work that's being done. We have to look at supervisor to line people, manager to line people, and the work we do get under control. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Andrea Leslie.
I believe that our major problem is our aging infrastructure and how we go about financing that. We have taken out, we have refinanced in order to do that and to make sure that we are sticking to creating a 5-year capital project, 5-year plan for capital projects in order to not have us go back to the situations of we undo something and find out that there's a whole lot more that needs to be done than we initially tried to fix. And if we do that, we will be saving money. We will not be our costs will not go be overrun because we're paying attention to our maintenance, our infrastructure, And one of the things, it's not to everyone a great issue, but we do have a large senior community here, and this community center has been needing an elevator. We don't have one, section 5 has one that goes up to the second floor. We need one here. And we've started that project before, the vendor went out of business, but that is something that I think what we need to be working on to improve the activities of our seniors so they're able to move about more easily.
Thank you. Leah Graham.
Thank you, Leah Graham, thank you. Pressing issues is whatever your issues are, the community. One of the key issues that I know the community is facing is this increase that's coming in July. This 8.1% increase is coming. And this is why we're asking you to please vote with your pocket and vote community first. Because this increase is not gonna go away, it's not going to stop. We have people who are on fixed incomes that do not qualify for SCREE that will be negatively affected by these ongoing increases. We have to get a handle on the spending. We have to create some guardrail. We have to hold the managing agent more accountable, provide some oversight, and evaluate. Another thing is resuming my relationship with HCR. So if you voted me in, I would resume that relationship because I did have one and it was a positive one. I had one with the finance department and the procurement office, and we did work collaboratively and we did make results. We did have results. The other thing is always funding public safety. We must always fund public safety. That is crucial. Also, bring back the garage attendants. We keep hearing that from you. So we have to find the money. And we can find the money.
Thank you very much. Kevin Fogarty.
Kevin Fogarty, the Impact Team. I'm gonna let my colleagues talk about the monies and the budget because it is a big issue. So we're all gonna have that. I believe in balance. If you become extreme and you only deal with one specific issue, it becomes topsy-turvy. So here's my personal issues, and I hope that you have the same ones. Number one, in the electronic business, we call it MTBF, which means mean time between failure. What that simply means is everything has a life cycle, which means it's going to fail. I've lived here for 50 years plus, and I know that there are just certain things that needs to be replaced. Why are we waiting until they fail to replace them? That is just not common sense. So with that, I would like to find out what the age are of all the equipment, power plant, generators, whatever they are. Because even today, we had the water shut down. I forgot it was going to be shut down. So it's just a problem. The second thing is, why do I have to wait, or anyone, for upgrades in your apartment by emptying it for a new shareholder? Why can't I get the same upgrades now? Those are my issues.
Keyshawn White.
Keyshawn White, Community First. About a year ago, I stood where many of you cooperators are standing right now, coming to a meeting, voicing my concerns and my problems, seeking to get help, hoping that something would be done. Instead of that, we got a vote that was canceled, we got increased carrying charges, and the opposite effect of engaging more of us as cooperators, we actually lost more because we disregarded the integrity of the vote of ourselves as cooperators. I want to restore that confidence back to you because it begins with you, to holding the board accountable, to making the board responsive to your needs, to be able to not say that we're going to stop these large carrying costs, but to begin to look deeply at them and to begin to get some sort of maintain and cost control, as well as bringing back your voice and responsibility to engaging all of us to work at this. Second thing I want to say very quickly, Co-op City is its own zip code. Many of the things that are being implemented right now, if we don't get a hold on our elected officials and hold them accountable with the ridiculous mandates that they're putting into many of these city ordinances and these green laws, we are going to be wasting millions and millions of dollars on convectors and equipment that they will deem obsolete very shortly.
Thank you very much. And now, our closing statements, because we are at almost the end of the night. So we're going to start with the closing statements. Shall we reverse the Okay. So Corazon, you go first.
Hi, my name is Corazon Fernandez. I just want to say thank you for your time. I know it's been a long little minute, but I really appreciate you hearing each and every one of us out. And I'll close with this. I just want to say that a board member doesn't have to have all the answers, but to seek them, learn, and implement them. A good leader is a person who listens and annotates, doesn't hold biased thoughts, ideas, but does it with integrity. So with that being said, I just want for you to understand that I'm here for you. I am a shareholder myself. There is too many things, too many things going on right now, and I want to help change. It's time for a change. A lot of my seniors here, as I've seen, I don't see them out more as I used to. They're scared. Community is scared. There's a safety issue. I want things to change. I want to feel home again. Co-op City is my home. I love this place. And I'm pretty sure that's why you guys are all here right now, to see how we could do this, how we could continue moving forward, because this is a strong community. This is a very great community. So with that, the rent is too damn high. Convectors, yeah.
Thank you very much, Corazon. Ezekiel.
Thank you, election chairs, and special thanks to the audience here and those watching at home. Your vote is your voice, and it's precious and it matters. Please allow me to be the voice in the boardroom as we work with management to help Co-op City thrive, not merely survive. For affordability, let's reach out to our local and state politicians to work with HCR and our insurers to keep Co-op City solvent. For safety, let's ensure the 39 open positions within CCPD are filled, stay filled, and the officers visible. Lastly, accountability and transparency. Let's continue to encourage management's openness to do the will of the shareholders in an efficient and cost-effective manner. To take on this task, please vote for the impact team: Sheila Richburg, Kevin Fogarty, Bernard Silage, Mary Pearson, Andrea Leslie, and me, Ezekiel Springer Jr. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Next we have Bernie Silage.
On June 14, 2023, the Board of Directors meeting was held. It was attended by the full board, including the current chair and co-chair of the election committee, as well as, of course, Jeff Buss and representative from Riverbay Management. The session was recorded and preserved on video and audio. At that meeting, I was the target of racial, verbal assault by Ben, a board member, who Sonia quoted in an emergency resolution, repeated twice, at me, get that and his money. Riverbay has a zero tolerance for racism. Indeed, Riverbay has on numerous occasions summarily terminated personnel for violating these terms of discrimination. Such anti-racist policy are incorporated in the current Board of Directors Election Committee rules and regulations. Based on these indefensible, racial, evidentiary reasons, I call upon the elected committee to dismiss the candidacy of that board member of the Riverbay Board of Directors for Board of Directors.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Shanna.
I just want to say, thank you shareholders, thank you election team. Especially thank you shareholders for just coming out and listening and being part of the process. That's one in the checkbooks that we can count. We can count on you. We can count on you to love your community. We can count on you to love the process. We can count on you to want to know what's happening in our community and to want changes. Nothing happens unless you guys want it. We are all shareholders. Whether I'm on a board or not, I don't work for you, I work with you. So we need to just come together and we need to make sure that our community continues to thrive. We can't continuously go down this path and expect something else to happen. We're gonna continuously get increases unless we find out what's really happening. Where did it all go wrong? Why are we talking about things now that should have been discussed? There are some board members that have been on the board for quite a spell, over 10 years. So none of the things that we're talking about is new. These are things that they all should have known, that everyone in the community is now realizing. And it's starting to hit us with back-to-back increases. So we just wanna do what is best. My team, Community First, we want to do what's best for you guys. Shanny Uzelda Montgomery, Leah Graham, Dr. Keyshawn White, and of course, Jacqueline Smith. We thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next we have Aaron.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. For those of you who are here, thank you for being here. I know we lost a couple people. It is a little chilly in here now. But thank you for coming. To the ones who are watching at home, thank you for sticking with us. I know it's long, I know it can be a little dry, if you will. We're here now at the final forum for the Riverbay Board elections. I don't have a script, I don't read from a script. Everything I say comes from my heart. You know, this has been a very rewarding experience. I got to know new people who I've never met before, got to see, got to meet, got to talk to people and share my concerns and my goals for this community. They say the definition for insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting what? The same result? A different result? Well, you can't keep voting for the same people over and over again and expecting things to change. We need change now. You can't sit at home. You can't be quiet. It's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to be loud, and it's time for you to vote. Thank you very much. I don't have a list of people to, say here. It's just me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Pearson.
Okay, I want to thank the impact team. You want to change cooperators? Well, there are 3 people on the board that are not going to be running. Again, there will be 3 openings. There is automatic change. I hope you fill that change with Ezekiel Springer, with Kevin Fogey, and where the heck is Sheila tonight? Sheila Richburg. They will be a great asset to the board. I hope I am re-elected so I can serve with them, and I do hope you renew the option of Bernie Silich, who has been here since any of us have been here. He was here putting the electrical wires in section 5. I have to say something. Convectors will never be obsolete until Co-op City is underwater and we all have to relocate. What do you expect to cool and heat your apartments? You're gonna start little coal bonfires? We need our convectors to provide heat and air conditioning. We do not have the electrical wires, and Bernie can tell us why. Oh, and Andrea Leslie. We do not have the electrical wires to sustain
Thank you.
other methods.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline Smith.
Thank you. The ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where he or she stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he or she stands in times of challenge and controversy. And I have been reading that from MLK for the last couple of days. There's a lot of skill sets that you need to be on the board. Some you have degrees, some you don't. You learn every day. But I'll tell you one thing you really need in the cold of the night at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that's integrity. Is it always pretty? No. Do you make mistakes? Yes. But when you're standing up and you're advocating for what's right, sometimes it doesn't always look pretty. But integrity is a strong character that's needed from any successful board member if they're ever going to initiate or even attempt to live up to those 4 oaths that in 3 weeks everybody's going to have to raise their hand. I concur with people I'm not even on the team with. Degrees aren't everything, and business analyst isn't everything. But what kind of character do you have when you stop a vote with 299 votes and then don't institute the bylaws, line 6, that says the election was supposed to be reran?
Thank you very much, Andrea Leslie.
Thank you, everybody, shareholders, for attending and for watching. Please participate in this election process. It's your responsibility. I thank you very much for coming, being here, being an active shareholder. Find ways to become even more active. I am Andrea Leslie, and I ask that you vote for Kevin Fogarty, Mary Pearson, Bernie Silage, Ezekiel Springer Jr., and Sheila Richburg. I would like to continue to participate, work with fellow board members and the management team here in order for us to continue to work with our aging infrastructure and our community and improve community service in this community. I love this. I think of you every time I'm making a decision. I am also here working for myself and all the family members that I have here who are living here, aging members of our community, that this is important for them to have. And every time we have an increase, we have to think about what happens to anyone who can't afford it. We don't not think about that when we're making this decision. And I will not tell you out of fear that that is what you're not going to face. Our community has to face that.
Thank you very much. Leah Graham.
Thank you, committee. My name is Leah Graham. As you guys all know, you voted for me twice before. And you guys know that I'm on the Community First team with Dr. Keyshawn White, Jacqueline Smith, Shannon Montgomery. We are in this community like you are, and we see what you see. And we experienced exactly what you guys experienced regarding our vote last year. We were at 94% quorum, and we spent over $30,000 of our carrying charges, and nothing was done. So I'm asking for the community to vote for change. Again, you see what you see what we see what you see. We all experience this. We want to vote for change. Vote with your pockets. Think about this increase. If you keep the same people on the board that don't have that business experience or those different verses of talents, we're going to continue down this path. Vote for change. Vote for integrity and transparency. Vote for business experience. And vote for being proactive and not reactive. We don't want to be reactive. Vote community first. We need your support. We need your help to help the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kevin Fogarty.
Kevin Fogarty of the Impact Team. We want to keep you informed of the policies in place and any changes that are needed to standardize and create consistency in things and matters of affordable living, quality of life, and safety. but I know I can't do it alone. And I believe with like-minded colleagues, whether we're on it from my team or not, once we collectively get on this board, we have to unify. And so with my background in pastoring, law enforcement, and technical skills, I believe this makes me an excellent candidate for the board of directors. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Keyshawn White.
Dr. Keyshawn White, Community First Team. Over these next few weeks, every one of you are going to be making a decision that is going to affect the future of Co-op City. Your presence here alone is very important, and we take it not lightly. But you are going to have to make a decision as to who is going to lead Co-op City into the future. Community First is committed to increasing budget oversight to make sure that spending is under control and reasonable. We want to enhance the oversight over our management to make sure that they are properly running Co-op City. We want to be able to explore alternative revenue streams. One of the ways to help mitigate the increase in carrying charges is to find new ways to fund other than just our shareholder capability. We also want to make sure that we protect the integrity of your vote. That's why we ask you to vote for myself, Dr. White, to vote for Shauna Montgomery, to vote for Leah Graham, to vote for Jacqueline Smith, to vote community first, because you can't afford not to. Thank you.
Thank you all. And so we will have a few closing words. We'll give you a couple of updates before we leave. Mika, can you tell us where we stand now with the vote?
So first and foremost, I would like to say thank you to the candidates once again. Thank you to the audience for your attention to the candidates and for showing them respect. I think it is appropriate at this time to give them a round of applause for the wonderful job they did tonight. You can do a little better than that. So at the beginning of this program, I promised that we would keep time and we would finish at 9:50. And someone yelled out, "Did you say 9:15?" And I said, no, 9:50, not 9:15. But it is 9:17. So thank you to the clairvoyants in the room who projected that we would finish early. I do have some closing remarks. So this completes our third in a series of 3 election forms for the 2024 Riverbay Board election. Election season or election day is in progress. The voting period began last Monday and extends until next Friday, June 14th. Sorry, 2 weeks from now, 16 days from now, June 14th. Mary, every single time I say a date, you look at me because inevitably I'm off by a week. Okay. I'm anxious to get to Friday, June 14th because I am excited about meeting our quorum. Those of you who read the Co-op City Times, which should be every single person in this room, will recall that in last Saturday's edition of the paper, there's a little thermometer at the bottom right-hand corner of the first page. That's our quorum watch. That thing needs to be going up. We're currently just under 4%. Now granted, these are only electronic votes. We do not have the paper ballots in for this weekend, given the holiday. In this Saturday's edition, it will include a paper ballot count as well. But we have got to get out there. We currently have a lobby decorating contest. If you live in a building or a townhouse cluster and your building has not already been decorated, and it doesn't have to, be this all-out expensive thing. There are 3 prizes involved. And so talk to your building association president if you're not the president yourself, since we have so many in the room, and get that building decorated. You should have received your green envelope in the mail by now. Ballots went out and were received at the start of last week. That green envelope contains your ballot. I'm making this announcement because maybe there are people that haven't heard this, but I trust that if you haven't gotten your ballot, then you've made some measures to try to get it. As some of the candidates mentioned earlier, there is a referendum on the ballot. You can either vote for candidates and for the referendum, or or you can vote for the purposes of quorum only. You cannot do both. So either you are voting for candidates and or the referendum, or you are voting for the purposes of quorum only. This is another reminder to shareholders to read the Co-op City Times. This is the way that the election committee will continue to send updates, publish all election-related announcements, including any additional events that we decide to have before the end of election day. Today's forum was in person and live with a live broadcast. It will be rebroadcast on the crawler at a later date. Forum number 1 has been up on the crawler since yesterday. It is broadcast, and we'll get forum number 2 up there. Okay, so participate in the building and townhouse associations. Make sure you get out there and vote, and shareholders will have an opportunity at a later date to also vote in the townhouse cluster and lobby decoration contest. With that said, we have questions, okay?
Yes.
Thank you, committee, for everything you guys have been doing the last forums. You have been doing a fantastic job, so I want to say thank you for that. My question is, if someone checks the ballot, checks the box and they just want to vote to meet quorum, are they allowed to be part of the referendum with the non-smoking? No. No.
The referendum is a vote. So you can vote for candidates, vote for the referendum, or only for the purposes of quorum. Thank you.
I have a statement. Some people in my building have not received their ballots yet, and it's a week and a half.
So we will publish in the Co-op City Times this weekend the way that folks who have not received their ballots can get additional ballots or can vote. We'll publish that in the Co-op City Times. Yeah, we'll include the phone number and the email address that you use. Aaron? No, yes, okay. So you can either vote for the purposes of the quorum only, which means you cannot select any candidates or should not select any candidates, and you should not vote on the referendum. If you want to vote either for candidates or the referendum, or for both, candidates and the referendum, you can do that, but then you will not select the vote for the purposes of the quorum only. Does that make sense? So you vote for the purposes of the quorum only if you don't want to vote on candidates or the referendum.
And the system will not allow you to submit your vote if you try to just do all three or just do the quorum and select candidates, because it is not going to let you do that. It will prevent you from doing that.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Again, because I like to take information and oversimplify it, because you're either going to check one box, which is at the bottom of the ballot. That's the actual quorum box. If you do not check that, then you are permitted to check the next box above it, which is the referendum, plus select 5 of the candidates above. 6, I'm sorry. Okay? So either you're going to check one box, which will be just quorum only. If you're not checking quorum only, then feel free to check all the boxes above, up to 6 candidates plus the referendum.
Okay, in the audience, if this is still confusing to you, please raise your hand. Okay, after this, we're gonna take a sidebar by this paper towel dispenser. And ask questions to your heart's content. We want to make sure everyone understands this before we depart tonight. It takes an hour, we'll get it, okay? So do not leave this room until you understand how to vote in this election, okay? All right. I think I hear rain, so it feels like a good time to depart. If there are no other questions, no comments from the committee, thank you once again. Everyone get home safely. Happy voting.